Visiting this beautiful farming community up in northern Thailand is not just about the amazing views. This place is also home to a very traditional thrill ride. It's safe to say they do things differently up north. The rest of the world might have Formula 1, but around here they prefer Formula Hmong. This little-known sport from the deep mountains of northern Thailand involves high-speed racing with no engines, no steering wheels, just steep mountain slopes and tiny wooden go-karts. So obviously, I wanted to try it for myself.
It's so bumpy!
And this beautiful place where that mad sport was born is not well known by Western tourists, but the road trip to get there is out of this world. On a route lined with stunning nature, unique waterfall restaurants, and even more hidden thrill rides amongst the trees.
Oh my god.
And all of this was just a 40-kilometer ride from one of the most popular destinations in northern Thailand. Hello and welcome back to another day in Thailand, where you join me from our condo here in Chiang Mai, a city right up in the north of the country. But today we are setting off on yet another road trip to a very beautiful place. Mon Jam is a very famous and scenic area known for its stunning views and its Instagram-worthy hotels, and we're going to be checking into one of those later today. But the main reason that I want to visit is to check out its most famous activity. But first things first, we need to get on the road, and there's quite a few things I want to check out along the way, so let's get to it. Right then, the plan now is to drive north out of the city before we turn west onto the more winding mountain roads, which could also get a little bit steep as well. And of course, like any road trip here in Thailand, I've got my own personal driver. Once again, Emma kindly offered to do the driving for us. Let's go. So on the back of her bike, I rode bitch as we followed the ring road north out of the Chiang Mai city boundaries, before hitting the quieter open roads of the Mae Rim district. Once you get off the main highway, you can see exactly why this is such a popular weekend route, thanks to the smooth open tarmac and the many attractions along the roadside. Okay then, after what was probably half an hour, maybe 40 minutes of driving, we've made it to our first stop here at the Mae Sa Waterfall. It was 220 baht in total for both of our entrance fees and the parking charge. And now basically we're following this trail because this waterfall has got lots of different levels. So let's see what it's like. We followed the path down to the waterside where it then starts to hug the stream, giving you plenty of chances to enjoy the views from plenty of different viewing points. So as I said just before, this waterfall goes up in stages and they're actually all numbered, and some of the lower down ones are quite small and not that impressive, but the higher you get up here, the cooler they get. And I mean, take a look at this. We're up at level 7 now. Amazing waterfalls. And some of them even have these really big swimming pool areas. It looks like a great spot to go and take a dip. As tempting as it was to take a quick swim, we had other places to be. So we turned around and got back on the road again. But it wouldn't be long before we were making another stop, because as I mentioned before, the roadside on the way to Mon Jam is full of welcome distractions. I always end up saying things like this when we take road trips, but it just makes a massive difference when you can drive yourself, or you're like me and you're being driven, just because you can stop wherever you want. There are a lot of different attractions on this route, and even when you just find a cute looking cafe, sometimes I've got a little secret out the back, like this place here. You can climb down these steps to a hidden waterfall that we have completely to ourselves. This region is also very well known for its strawberries. You can go picking for them when it's the right season, or just check out the many strawberry-themed attractions in the laybys. At this one roadside stall, we even bought ourselves some Mon Jam jam, which just seemed like the right thing to do. And we weren't lacking in other places to eat or drink either. In fact, there's so much competition along this route that every place needs to come up with a unique selling point to draw you in. Well, how about this for a spot to eat? We've gone from a waterfall hike to a waterfall restaurant. How cool is that? After another relaxing stop by the water and some good food, it was time to take things up a notch. And our next stop promised to raise the heart rate. But first, we also had to tackle a sudden change in the roads. So as you can see from this sign right behind me, we are now getting much closer to Mon Jam, which also means the roads are going to get a little bit different. Until now it's been pretty smooth actually, but now we're heading right into the mountains, so it's going to be a lot steeper, a few more turns, so let's see how it goes. With these steeper inclines came some trickier driving for Emma, but some better views for me. And our new heights made for the perfect location for our next stop. Well, we have just arrived at the Pongyang Adventure Park, which is the home of the Jungle Coaster. This place is essentially a mountaintop theme park. You can clip and climb around the trees, you can try the zip line, but the main draw is the big coaster that twists and turns around the whole site. So of course, we had to give it a go. We've got our tokens now, 150 baht each, so let's get on this thing. I'm excited. I've seen a lot of these Alpine-style coasters in Europe before, and strangely enough, the last one I did was on the Great Wall of China. You can choose a double or a single rider, and you control the brakes of the ride yourself. How are you feeling? So for the more daring amongst you, you could just not bother slowing down at all and let gravity take control, which is exactly what I plan to do when I finally got a chance to drive myself today. Hi, slow coach. Caught up with you already. Well, that's that then. It was over in a few seconds. Really fun though, you go pretty fast. Just don't bother with the brake, that's what I say. Just go for it. You know what? I think it takes longer to get back up again. This is taking forever, this last bit. I want to go back down. After that, we hit the road again to tackle the last very winding section to get to the place that we had come to see. And just a few minutes later, we got our first views of what many people say is the most beautiful place in the whole of Thailand. And to be honest, it's very easy to see why. Well, after only 5 more minutes of driving, we have made it to Mon Jam. And before we get into the accommodation and everything to do here, just take a look at these views. Mon Jam is most well known for its colourful hillsides decorated with stunning fields of flowers. But beyond the guidebook photos, this place is home to the Hmong people. What makes it such an interesting place to visit is that the locals here mostly resist any kind of modernisation, preferring to stick to the old traditional ways of life. You can see that reflected in the way that they dress, you can see that in the local markets, but saying that, in the centre, they definitely cater to the crowds of modern tourists as well. So what you're going to find here in the centre of Mon Jam is a lot of cafes, but not just any old cafes for photo shoots. This is a real Instagram paradise, so you can often find little gardens here where you pay a small fee and you go inside and you can come to places like this that you can sit in front of and get some creative and interesting photos in front of this amazing backdrop. We made the most of the cafes with all of the amazing viewing decks and took in the 360-degree views of the surroundings, which to be fair, weren't exactly what we saw online. As you can probably tell from the brown earth behind me, this is definitely not the best time to come to Mon Jam. We're here in the summer, so all of the plants have already been harvested. So you can imagine when they're grown and you can see all the colours across the fields, it's even more beautiful here. But hey, this isn't bad at all. Now, apart from Instagram cafes, the other thing you'll see across the landscape of Mon Jam are these little pods here. Glamping is extremely popular here, so of course we had to book a little place of our own, so let me give you the tour. We would return to this central part of Mon Jam for our main activity the next day, but first we drove a few windy kilometres out of the centre to a very Mon Jammy hotel, where we were staying for the night. Welcome to our VIP room, or should I say VIP pod, here at Mae Rim. This is a very small hotel, all made up of accommodation that looks like this. So let me show you around the little place that we've booked for the night. Mae Rim was fairly new when we visited, so it actually felt like we were one of the first guests. It has its own cafe and parking, and we booked ourselves into one of the fancier beds for the night, in the VIP section no less. So you come in through the sliding door, and the first thing you're going to notice when you walk in is the bath. I mean, look at this. It's a proper outdoor bathtub looking right out over the hills. And again, this is a proper Mon Jam Instagram spot. It's pretty cool, to be fair. And then over this side, you've got a balcony with sort of astroturf. And the view we get here is not actually the main view of Mon Jam. Mon Jam is actually behind us, but hey, these green hills here and the farms below, it's not a bad view at all. Just behind me, you've got a little dining area where we're going to have dinner later on. And behind that, you've got a bathroom, which is pretty basic. It's just a shower and a toilet. And of course, the main room is inside the pod. So here we are. This is what the inside of a Mon Jam pod looks like. And as you can see, it's actually fairly spacious in here. It is basic, but then it is glamping as well. But one real bonus that this place has is aircon, and that's definitely not a given with the accommodation options here in Mon Jam. And as you can imagine, some of these glamping pods are basically like greenhouses, so they can actually get really hot inside. We paid £45 per night to stay here, and that does include a quite basic breakfast as well, but I think it's a pretty good deal to get that proper Mon Jam experience. And as we're fairly remote outside of the main centre of Mon Jam, we're actually going to have dinner here at the hotel, and I think it's going to be pretty interesting.
That night, Emma made the most of that Instagrammable bathtub, and we enjoyed the sunset views from our private terrace. But after such a long day of driving and exploring, it was time to have something to eat. And luckily, the hotel set us up with everything we needed for some traditional Thai barbecue. The main twist being, we had to cook everything ourselves. Now, we weren't 100% sure what we were doing here, but after watching a few YouTube videos, we eventually got the hang of it, and I think it went pretty well. The hotel provided us with everything from the raw meats, to the veg, to the drinks, to the barbecue itself, which ended up being a really fun experience. I'd definitely recommend it if you get the chance to try it. So, with full stomachs and hopefully no food poisoning, we headed back to the pod to get ready for the one activity that brought us here in the first place.
Good morning and welcome back to another day here in Mon Jam. We had a fairly good night's sleep last night in the pod, and we did manage to avoid poisoning ourselves with that Thai barbecue. But today, this morning, it's finally time to go and check out that very traditional thrill ride that I promised. So let's do it.
We jumped back on the bike and headed back into Mon Jam village. Tournaments involving wooden go-kart racing have existed in this region for over 100 years, beginning with two-wheeled vehicles before evolving into the speedy four-wheeled karts that you can find today. And right here in the centre of town, I was told that I could try out this unique local sport for myself.
So here we are, this is the start of the course, and right behind me are the wooden go-karts of Mon Jam. So let's go and pay up and see what happens.
We paid 100 baht for a double rider car, and then we just needed to get to the start of the track at the very top of this hill. So luckily, these guys were around with their truck to help us out. Now, these aren't the exact karts that they use for the real racing events, but if the ride up to the starting line was anything to go by, this descent wouldn't be for the faint of heart.
We're now heading up to the start of the track, right at the top of the hill. It's a bit bumpy, and if it's bumpy for the truck, the karts are definitely going to be bumpy.
This hill was an actual course where the real karting events take place. So when we eventually saw the starting line itself, the nerves were definitely growing.
So we've made it to the top, and as you can see, you can actually do different sizes of go-karts here as well. There's double rider and single, and we're going to do double today. Come on then, Emma. Who's driving? Yeah?
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, sure.
You might have already noticed that the cars don't actually have a steering wheel. So this guy was explaining to Emma that she'd have to use her feet to steer us on the way down.
Oh my god, I'm scared.
And before we knew it, the road was clear and it was time to go.
Here we go.
Oh my god, my legs aren't that long.
Whoa! Oh my god! Oh my god! It's so bumpy! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Emma, you're going majorly off road. Right, stop. Oh my god, look what's happened.
I'm in a ditch!
What have you done? As you can see, Emma has driven us straight into a ditch, so it's time to swap over. Oh. Let's get on the road. Whoa. Is that the brake? That's brake, yeah? So basically, you steer with your feet and then you have a brake lever. Oh my god! It actually takes a lot of coordination to steer the car in the right direction, as Emma found out. How was it, Emma?
Terrifying.
Terrifying?
Recommend.
Straight in the ditch.
That was enough for Emma, but I enjoyed myself so much on the double dash that I decided to give it another go as a single rider. This time I shared the journey up with a friendly group of Thai students, turning this second round into an actual race. Whether they knew it or not, I don't know. I gave my new friends a head start because, let's be honest, they probably need it. And then I started the chase.
Single rider time. This is honestly like the Thai Mario Kart, basically. Oh my god.
I was actually gaining pretty well on my new Thai friend, but then it all went a bit wrong.
Oh my god, they're so hard to control. I've crashed again.
Luckily, it wasn't just me who was struggling with the
I
steering.
think it's better this side, isn't it?
But by this point, we'd lost momentum, and the final part of the race was pretty slow all round. And eventually, I crawled over the finish line, but not without some battle scars.
Well, as you can see on that second ride, my foot got a little bit too close to the tyre and I've got this sort of rubber burn on my toe, which is a little bit painful, but that was a lot of fun. Both single rider and double rider though, they're very hard to control. The handling is really difficult, so just be aware of that. But I think, that was even better than the Jungle Coaster, which is a bit more of an established theme park ride. This one, way, way better, and it's cheaper, so there you go.
Next time, we climb right up into the clouds to explore the tallest mountain in all of Thailand by bike.